Good morning, this is Ashley. And this morning I was just thinking about just the presence of God's comfort in a prison situation. Like, especially I was thinking about John the Baptist as he was in prison in his last moments, and Paul in the last book he wrote, 2 Timothy, in his last moments. Both were in prison. Of course, John the Baptist was in prison when Jesus was still on the earth. And he had his doubts. He went into a place of deep depression in prison. And that's when he said, he sent people to ask Jesus, are you the one to come, or are we to expect someone else? So even John the Baptist, in moments of deep trial and testing and the feeling of abandonment, he had doubts, and Jesus didn't condemn him for his doubts, because when Jesus heard he had said that, he said, blessed is he who's not offended by me. But then he also turned to the crowd and he said that among people born under women, nobody was greater than John the Baptist. But he said, like, the least in the kingdom was greater than even John the Baptist. So that made me think about Paul, who, of course, Paul was here after the crucifixion and resurrection of Christ. And there in 2 Timothy, and it's his last words, and I love that book. It's one of my favorites. He was forsaken by all people also. He said that my last offense, no one came to my support, but everyone deserted me. But the Lord stood by me and strengthened me, so that through me the message might go out to all the Gentiles, that all the Gentiles would hear it. And he said, the Lord will rescue me from every evil attack and bring me safely into his heavenly kingdom. And, now on this side of the cross and this side of the resurrection, there's nothing that we can go through that the Lord won't be with us in. Just like Paul said, the Lord stood by me and strengthened me, even though everybody else deserted me. And he even was able to say, may it not be held against them. Jesus, he was forsaken by all his friends before he was crucified. They all fled there in the garden. And Paul experienced that too, right before he ended up being beheaded. But he had a peace that surpassed all understanding. And that was because the Lord stood by him and strengthened him. Yesterday, my husband and I were reading in Colossians, one of my favorite verses, that you read it so I don't mess it up. I really did discover yesterday I need readers. I had to borrow some at the store. Okay. To them God has chosen to make known among the Gentiles the glorious riches of this mystery, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. So it's really that phrase that I just marvel at. Christ in you, the hope of glory. And he goes on to say, we proclaim him, admonishing and teaching everyone with all wisdom, so that we may present everyone perfect in Christ. To this end I labor, struggling with all his energy, which so powerfully works in me. So he talks about Christ in you, the hope of glory, and that he was working with the energy of Christ so powerfully working in him. We're not called to anything. We don't go through anything, and we're not called to do anything in our own power and strength. And indeed, our power and strength is very little. But his is limitless. The Bible talks about how the same power that raised Jesus from the dead lives inside of us. And so, with that same power working inside of us, we can face anything, and he will never leave us or forsake us. He will rescue us from every evil attack and bring us safely into his heavenly kingdom. I love that old song, Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. A friend of mine who is an atheist, she even loves this song, because I think everybody deep down wants that. They want to know that they are secure and that they are safe. But it's that song that goes, what a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Ooh, I've got the words. I thought I knew it. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms, leaning, on the everlasting arms. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting arms. I know that's probably familiar to you. And I just pray, just like Paul was able to do, that whatever you're going through right now, no matter if you feel abandoned, if you feel forsaken, if you feel like nobody gets the trial you're going through, that you would sense the Lord's presence so near, because he draws close to the brokenhearted and he saves those who are crushed in spirit, and he will never leave you nor forsake you. And even if you are in the lowest pit, underneath are the everlasting arms. May he stand by you and give you strength. I have my little jar that I wanted to pull out. So I'm going to pull out one that is for somebody who feels anxious. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. You know, sometimes I read a verse like that and I think, boy, that's easier said than done, isn't it? What's it mean to cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you? Well, I think first, maybe just an awareness that he wants to hear about it. Tell him about it. Don't filter your words or try to dress it up with religious language. Just tell him about it like you would tell a friend. And even ask him to take it, to carry it for you. You might not feel it instantly because his timing is not our time. I sure have felt him over the last month take my anxieties many times. Sometimes I feel it physically come off like a weight, and sometimes it's more like that verse I shared the other day, the path of the righteous being like the first gleam of dawn, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Sometimes it's a gradual release of a burden. He daily bears our burdens. I thought I wanted to say something else, but I don't think I do. God bless you today and always.